Anxiety grows when your mind tries to control everything, but Stoicism teaches the exact opposite. This ancient philosophy is built on one powerful idea: focus only on what you can control, and let go of what you can't. Instead of fearing uncertainty, Stoics train their minds to stay calm under pressure, think clearly during chaos, and stop emotions from taking over. By changing the way you interpret problems, Stoicism can weaken anxiety at its root and help you develop a calmer, stronger, and more resilient mindset. Today we will talk about how to use Stoicism to destroy anxiety. So, before we start, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. 1. Understanding anxiety through the lens of Stoicism. Anxiety is one of the most common mental struggles in modern life. People constantly worry about the future, fear failure, overthink situations, and imagine worst-case scenarios that may never happen. The human mind naturally tries to predict danger because survival has always depended on preparation and caution. However, in today's world, this survival mechanism often becomes excessive and creates emotional suffering. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy developed over 2,000 years ago, offers one of the most powerful psychological systems for overcoming anxiety. Stoicism teaches that suffering is not caused directly by events themselves, but by our interpretation of those events. This idea changes everything because it means anxiety is often created not by reality, but by the stories the mind tells itself. Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca believe that peace comes from mastering perception rather than controlling the outside world. 2. The Stoic principle of control, the foundation for inner peace. One of the most important teachings in Stoicism is known as the dichotomy of control. This principle states that some things are within our control while others are not. Our actions, thoughts, decisions, attitudes, and responses are within our control. However, external events, other people's opinions, outcomes, the future, and unexpected circumstances are not fully controllable. Anxiety often appears when people waste emotional energy trying to manage uncontrollable situations. People fear rejection, worry about failure, obsess over what others think, and stress over outcomes they cannot guarantee. Stoicism teaches that this mental habit creates unnecessary suffering because the mind becomes attached to uncertainty. The Stoic solution is simple but powerful. Focus entirely on what you can control and release emotional attachment to everything else. This mindset immediately reduces mental chaos because it removes the impossible burden of controlling reality itself. 3. Why Stoics do not fear the future. Anxiety is deeply connected to future-focused thinking. The mind constantly imagines potential disasters, failures, embarrassment, loss, or uncertainty. Stoicism teaches that most suffering exists in imagination rather than reality. The future does not yet exist, yet people emotionally suffer over it as though it has already happened. Stoics believed this mental habit destroys peace because it traps the mind in endless hypothetical scenarios. Instead of obsessing over uncertain outcomes, Stoicism encourages individuals to focus on the present moment and the actions available right now. The Stoics understood that no human being can predict life with certainty. Therefore, fearing every possible negative outcome is both exhausting and irrational. One Stoic technique for reducing anxiety is called premeditatio malorum, which means imagining difficulties calmly before they happen. 4. Emotional discipline and the Stoic response to negative thoughts. Stoicism does not teach emotional suppression. Instead, it teaches emotional discipline and rational observation. Many people become anxious because they immediately believe every fearful thought their mind produces. Stoicism teaches that thoughts should be examined carefully rather than automatically trusted. The mind often exaggerates threats, predicts disaster, and creates unnecessary panic. Stoic philosophy encourages individuals to pause and question their emotional reactions before accepting them as truth. For example, if someone thinks everything will go wrong, the Stoic response is to ask whether there is real evidence supporting that belief. This process weakens emotional impulsiveness and strengthens rational thinking. Stoics believed emotions become destructive when they control behavior without reason. Anxiety grows when emotions dominate perception. By learning to observe thoughts calmly instead of reacting automatically, individuals create psychological distance between themselves and their fears. This distance reduces emotional intensity and allows clearer thinking. 5. Acceptance, the hidden weapon against anxiety. One of the strongest Stoic teachings for overcoming anxiety is radical acceptance. Anxiety often grows from resistance to reality. People want certainty, control, comfort, and guarantees about life. But reality rarely provides those things consistently. Stoicism teaches that peace comes from accepting life as it is instead of demanding that life obey personal expectations. This does not mean becoming passive or giving up ambition. Instead, it means understanding that some suffering is unavoidable and should not be feared excessively. Stoics believed that fighting reality emotionally only multiplies pain. Acceptance reduces anxiety because the mind stops exhausting itself through resistance. For example, losing a job, facing criticism, experiencing uncertainty, or encountering failure are difficult experiences. But Stoicism teaches that these events are not inherently destructive unless the mind labels them as unbearable. 6. How Stoicism builds mental strength through adversity. Stoicism teaches that adversity is not always harmful. Sometimes it is necessary for growth. Modern society often encourages comfort-seeking behavior, but Stoics believed excessive comfort weakens the mind. Anxiety increases when individuals become emotionally dependent on predictable conditions and fear discomfort. Stoics intentionally practiced voluntary discomfort to strengthen resilience. They sometimes fasted, endured cold temperatures, simplified their lifestyles, or reduced luxuries temporarily to train themselves mentally. The purpose was not punishment but psychological preparation. When people realize they can survive discomfort, fear loses much of its power. Anxiety often exaggerates threats because the mind assumes difficulty will be unbearable. Stoicism destroys this illusion by teaching that human beings are stronger than they think. Facing manageable discomfort intentionally builds confidence and emotional stability. Over time, 7. Stoic daily practices that reduce anxiety. Stoicism is not just a philosophy to study, it is a daily practice meant to transform thinking patterns over time. One of the most effective Stoic habits is journaling. Stoics often wrote about their fears, reactions, mistakes, and emotional struggles to gain clarity over their thoughts. Writing allows people to organize anxious thinking and examine it rationally instead of emotionally. Another Stoic practice is morning reflection, where individuals prepare mentally for challenges they may face during the day. This reduces emotional surprise and creates psychological readiness. Evening reflection is also important because it encourages self-awareness and continuous improvement. Meditation on mortality, another Stoic practice, reminds people that life is temporary and uncertainty is unavoidable. 8. The ultimate Stoic secret to destroying anxiety. The deepest Stoic secret for destroying anxiety is understanding that inner peace does not come from controlling life. It comes from controlling yourself. Most people spend their lives trying to manipulate external circumstances so they can finally feel calm. Stoicism completely reverses this idea. It teaches that peace is developed internally through disciplined thinking, emotional control, acceptance, courage, and wisdom. External events will always remain uncertain because life itself is unpredictable. There will always be risks, failures, criticism, loss, and unexpected difficulties. However, Stoicism teaches that human beings possess the ability to choose their response to every situation. If you liked this video and would like to see more like it, please give it the thumbs up, leave a comment, and click the button to subscribe.